Hi, I'm Tim Bartz, Internet Sales Manager here at McArthur Ford in Salina, Kansas, your source for more Ford Maverick news, updates, and information with a special video for you. Some things that I mentioned in my live stream on Tuesday night, but some of you may not have watched to that point or watched through that information, and I thought it'd be a good idea to put out a separate video just to kind of give you all the highlights and all the information if you're wanting to know what you need to do on your Ford Maverick order. So, of course, if you're not subscribed to the channel, I recommend you hit that red subscribe button down below so you can subscribe over to the channel. Hit the notification bell. That way you can get notified next time we have another video uploaded to our YouTube channel. So let's dive in and talk about this. So there was a memo that went out to Ford dealers on Tuesday, on February 22nd, 2022, telling and informing dealers that they need to contact their customers because of some information. So I'm going to read some of the information here and give you the highlights of that and what you need to be thinking about. So when your dealer contacts you, you're armed and know exactly what you're wanting to do, what you need to do, and you kind of get that information. Because I did see some people post some things of what their dealers was telling them and asking them to do on their orders, and I feel like it's a game of telephone where you tell one person has the exact sentence of what you're supposed to say, and they tell it to the next person, and then by the time it gets to the 10th or 20th person, it loses its effect and it's not even the same message whatsoever. I kind of feel like that way on this, where the general manager maybe give the memo and said, here's what you need to know, and tells the manager then tells the salespeople, and one salesperson hears it a different way than another salesperson, and maybe they leave something out. So we're going to go through this. So now you're going to get it straight from the source here. And so you know what exactly you need to do. And some other things that I added to this that Ford did not mention that I think is pretty valuable information as well that hopefully you get out of this. So first I'm going to kind of read the first kind of summary at the top, and then kind of read down through what you might need to do for your order and such. So I'm going to skip through some of it because it's kind of long, but the combination of incredible strong retail order demand and unprecedented supply chain issues has created a number of capacity constraints that have prolonged our ability to schedule many of these retail orders for production. These constraints will require some customers to either modify their existing 22 model year retail order or wait to place a 23 model year order when the Maverick order bank reopens this summer. So that's something to think about. So, I actually mentioned this last week in my live stream that this was going to happen. In fact, this weekend went through a lot of our early orders to see what else was on there that maybe that is constrained and that we need to call them and have them take off. So we actually were making calls on Monday, Tuesday to our customers based on some of that information that I released to a lot of you guys last week. So we were already ahead of this. But let me read the next section about the retail order scheduling criteria. And so first off, it says the priority of remaining production will go to unscheduled Maverick retail orders based on the date they were submitted by the customer's Ford dealership, the vehicle model and configuration selected, the parts availability, and the number of vehicles the customer's Ford dealership receives. So they kind of broke it down in 4 steps and 4 criteria that they're looking at there. And so we'll kind of break that down. Number 1 says the retail order receipt date, the oldest retail orders scheduled first. And I know some people out there said, well, Tim, that's not true. I know some people that ordered in August and I ordered in June and theirs got scheduled before mine. Well, let's look at number 2, another factor into what is being scheduled, and that is the vehicle model and configuration selected relative to capacity constraints on these specific optional features and packages. So some of the ones that they mention in here is, if you have the Copilot 360 package or the XLT luxury package, Lariat luxury package, the optional spray and liner. So these things affect how quickly yours gets built. So one of the things that I found that I kind of today I thought of a neat analogy that kind of gives you an impact of how this would affect. I know a lot of you have gone to restaurants where you needed to be seated, and you maybe go with a large family like my family of now it's a family of 10 now, but if we go to a restaurant and we need to be seated and I need a table of 10, and then you have someone else that comes up and maybe that's a group of 4 and they put in theirs, we need to be seated, we have 4, and then all of a sudden they get seated before you start saying, we got here first, why are they seated before me? Well, because they were a smaller group, they were able to accommodate 4 people, but when it comes to 10 people, they had to wait for other tables to come open. I feel like it's the same thing with this. So if you have on your order, if you just have an XLT hybrid, the hybrid on the sales is going to be a little bit constrained. But if you have a XLT hybrid versus someone else that has an XLT hybrid with electric package, Copilot 360, and a bed cover, it takes more to be able to make that vehicle. So that's why sometimes your order gets looked over if you have a June order, and an August order that maybe just has an XLT hybrid gets selected above you. So keep that in mind when you're looking at other people getting selected, because that's something that's a big factor in this. And pretty much Ford has said that they're not able to build all the 22 orders with the configuration that is there because of supply chain issues. So, if you have, a 22 order with some of these things, you may consider a couple things. We'll talk about those here in just a little bit. So number 3 thing that is a factor in when your vehicle is scheduled is the retail order verification completed by the Ford dealership. This is something I've preached for about 4 or 5 months now. It says a required step for the Ford dealership for retail order scheduling is to complete the customer order verification process. COVP for Maverick, it's called ROVP, which authenticates and approves the retail order. So that has to happen. So here's another thing that you might have. If you see that you have a June order made a certain way and somebody else within your region has the same order, they got scheduled and you didn't, maybe you need to double check that your dealer has sent yours through and it's been approved. If they submitted it and it's not approved yet for some reason, could be a blurry driver's license picture, it could be that you didn't fill out completely the bottom of the order sheet, your name, address, phone number, email address, all that has to be filled out, and you have to sign it. Not just sign it. Some people are just signing it, sending in, those don't get approved, and so that order might be sitting there unapproved, and that's why your order is not being selected over and over and over, because the dealer didn't do that. What they'll then do is tell you, hey, this, they probably send a communication to someone at your dealership that says this is being held because it needs this, which can still be submitted. As long as you first submitted them by the deadline, they can be, resubmitted. So we, in fact, I think it was about a week ago that we went through all of our orders, not just Maverick, on any of them, and made sure they were all approved and not waiting on anything on our end, so we can make sure we get with the sales guy and we get that information back and resubmit, maybe a better copy of the driver's license, something like that. And one of the things that can hold up that is if your driver's license has a different address than the address that you put in your order, that will affect it too and hold up that approval. So that has to get getting done. So if you have a June, July, or early August order, that's something you probably want to check out. Now, if you do have an order with us, please, you don't have to call and bother them. I will tell you, we've already gone through ours. You can see here, we have all of ours there with those approvals. See, and so this is a form that document that came with the email about this information to all the Ford dealers with all their unscheduled orders, and it actually has a column for verification status, whether it's approved or not. So your dealer will have that, so it'll be real easy for them to find that and go through your order and say, well, when did you order? You can go by receipt, the order date is in here, right? And then you can see that, then you can see, move over and see that it's been approved. Yep, but you do have, and it'll have on here some things that maybe you're constrained that it's on your order. So it'll be real easy for them to look those up and do that. So we do have a lot of orders, so we're working on that process of going through that. So that is something else that affects you. Your order is not going to be looked at by the factory to pull it for scheduling unless it has a ROVP or COVP approval by your dealership. And number 4 is the dealer allocation based on approved market basket formula. That's also important. So they're looking at your market area. So for us, we're in the Kansas City region. So within this region, like our region may one month decide, hey, we're going to focus in on your first editions for this year or for this month. So we're going to be looking for those orders first. So there might even give some dealers more allocations based on what orders they have like that, so they can try to fulfill those. So that really based on the region. So I will tell you that I know that probably more hybrids are being scheduled in EV states like California. More than likely, California regions and such are going to get more allocations to their region and then to their dealerships that have hybrid orders, because they have a high, that's an EV state, and hybrids are a focus to the EV. So I know early on, some of those states, they got more allocations than other regions. So that can be something that affects that. And something that Ford did not mention, that's something to think about, is also, I made it number 5, is the priority of your order at your dealership. And what I mean by that is a lot of these orders here have a priority 2 on them. Right there, that middle code, priority 2, and that means that the region wants to look at that order first. So when they pull and they're looking, and the factory's looking for an XLT with the Lux package and Copilot 360, and it's a priority, they're going to look at priority 2s first to fulfill those, and then they'll go into 10, and then 11, 12, and so on. So that affects it. So now, one of the things I will tell you right now, because I've had a lot of people ask me, well, mine's at a priority 19 at my dealership. Does that mean that they're going to be 18 orders ahead of me? No. The default when the dealer puts in your order is a priority 19. And as long as everybody else at that dealership is a priority 19, you're going to be looked at in the same as them. So just going to be going by order date at that point. So they're going to be looking at that way. Now, I will tell you, by looking at our orders, all the people that have a priority 2 on their order have a June, July, or August order. I will tell you that right now. So they're going to be looking at those orders first to fulfill those. And like I've said, pretty much all of our hybrid orders, we have not had one hybrid order scheduled from September on. They've all been June, July, or August based on the criteria that Ford's been looking for. So that's another thing to think about. So be looking at that. So that's a possibility as well, especially if a dealer maybe does have some people at 10 and yours is at 11. Those 10s, even if they have a later date, can be looked at first. So that's within that dealership if they dictate that. So you could go talk to the dealer and say, hey, can you put me as a priority 10? That will help you out. That'll move yours up ahead of everybody else's. But if if the dealership does the same for all theirs, then that's safe. Now, what we did on ours is all of our customer orders, retail orders, are at a priority 10. We do have a business that ordered a bunch of vehicles, a bunch of Mavericks, and we have them in as 11. So that way all of our 10s get looked at before those with those orders that are 11. So we wanted to make sure our customers were taken care of first. So keep that in mind. That is something that's looked at too. So now moving on to the different some of the things that you might want to look at. So here's basically what they're basically what Ford told dealers. Here's what you need, your options for your customers. So if you have an order out there, hasn't been scheduled yet, listen to this, because this is what your dealership's going to be doing. So it says, with expectations of these unprecedented supply chain issues continuing, we would ask all of our Ford dealers that have customers with retail orders, including the optional features and packages listed, to contact their customers and review the options available to them. So now keep in mind, your dealer may tell you, if you contact them and they don't contact you, they may tell you, we can't make changes to your order. Our Ford rep said not to make any changes to Maverick orders. We cannot do that. They can do that. In fact, Ford is telling their dealerships by this memo to do that. So let me go through this. You have two options. Number one, the customer can work with their Ford dealer to make amendments to their 22 model year retail order, i.e. remove constrained features or option packages, which we're going to talk about those here in a second, dramatically improving the opportunity for it to be scheduled for production this year. So what they're saying is they can produce all the orders. If people take off certain constrained items, they would be able to produce all the 22 orders. It's just some people there's so many people that want a luxury package, which is a great package, by the way. It's an awesome package. Heated seats, you have the dual zone climate, all those features. I won't go over all that, but they're great, some great features. So, I'm telling people, don't, if that's something you want, it will get built with those items on there. It just may not be built as a 22. It may get kicked to a 23. So, which I'm about ready to talk about that. So now it does have a memo in here. It says, please note that we recommend against any changes to the retail order's body code or PEP code. Example is changing it from a Lariat to an XLT. So if you have a Lariat out there and go, you know what, I want to change it to an XLT, I think it might get scheduled faster. Actually, it won't, because what that'll do is that'll change the receipt date of the order to the last day that they could take an order for that motor. So if it's a hybrid and you switch from a Lariat to an XLT, now your receipt date has been automatically changed to November 15th. I'll tell you that because it happened to one of our orders. So that is a fact. So keep that in mind. If it's an EcoBoost order, it's going to take it to January 27th, which was the last day you could order an EcoBoost motor. So keep that in mind. So first thing you can do is amend your order with those constraint items, take those off. That'll dramatically improve your chances of getting scheduled for this production year. Or the other option is the customer can continue to wait for their 22 model year retail order to schedule within the capacity constraint levels. If the order is unable to be scheduled in the 22 model year, the customer would need to work with their Ford dealer to convert their retail order to a 23 model year order when the retail order bank reopens this summer. And again, I stress when the open order banks. It's not done right now. You don't have to worry about it. If you have like a late order and you know you have XLT luxury XLT and Copilot 360 or that luxury package, and you know yours is going to get kicked to 23 because you ordered in November and it's a hybrid, and you know you're going to get kicked to 23, you do not have to do anything right now. You just wait, and once the order banks open up for 23, that's when those orders will be, that's when you'll decide to do that, and that'll be in August. So keep that in mind. Right now you don't need to do anything. So and you never know, it might go ahead and get scheduled. You just never really know. If we have enough people that take off items, then we might be able to get them all scheduled for 22 and not have any issues. So here are the constraint items and the priority level that they mention. So they actually prioritize them by the order combinations that they think are the most relative. So number one is if you have a spray-in bed liner without the luxury packages. So if you have a spray-in bed liner, the optional spray-in bed liner, you do not have a luxury package, remove the bed liner. Let me preface, if you have a luxury package, you cannot take off the bed liner or any items off of the luxury package to help speed it up. That package includes all the features within that package. You cannot take off an item that's included in a package. Want to make sure I say that because I've had a lot of people ask me that. Number two is they mentioned the hard trifold tonneau cover without the luxury package, XLT or Lariat luxury packages. So they're saying orders with that. So if you don't have an XLT luxury package and you have a tonneau cover to take off. Now it mentions the hard trifold, but I will tell you that all of the bed covers are constrained, not just a hard trifold. Probably the best case scenario is a soft trifold. It's at 16%, but both your hard trifold as well as your hard roll-up are both at about 2 to 3% constrained. So I would say, my opinion is remove all bed covers. We did a video on how easy it is to install a bed cover. It's not that difficult. You can order those. You can order them from us and we can ship them right to you. If you're even with another dealership, if your dealer can't get a hold of them or can't get them in stock, we're able to order them without any problem from our regional aftermarket or Ford accessories plant. So we're not having issues getting bed covers whatsoever, and we have plenty in stock, so we can always do that as well. And you can put that on when you get your vehicle in. So take that bed cover off. It'll help your order. The other one they mentioned is a cargo management system without the XLT or Lariat luxury packages, to remove that cargo management system. Now, I don't see too many people with orders with just a cargo management system. I believe that's the rails on the side and maybe some other things, but I don't really see that as being an issue. In fact, I don't think we have any orders early on that have that package on there. That was a late availability item that didn't come about until like job order 2. So pretty more than likely, unless you have a late order, you probably don't have that on your order. Number 4 is the bed extender without the XLT or Lariat luxury packages. It's 2% constrained. Remove those bed extenders as well. Again, bed extenders are something that can just be put in the vehicle, ordered later, can be put in the vehicle, not a big deal. So that's something else. Number 5 is the bed tray without the XLT or Lariat luxury package. And I think they mean the bed mat there. I think that's actually probably a typo there, because I did not see that the bed tray was constrained on the constraint list, but the bed mat is, and the bed mat wasn't listed anywhere else. So I believe they're talking about the bed mat, not the bed tray, which is option 85B, because that's constrained to 2% as well. So remove that. Now they do mention on all of these that if you don't have the luxury package, to remove those. But I still think that if you do have a luxury package, that you probably should think about taking those off as well. It'll only help your order. Something to think about. And then they mentioned the Copilot 360 without the luxury package. So if you didn't order the luxury package, but you ordered the Copilot 360, they say removing that. Here's what I think on that. That's a great package. It's a safety package that I would hate to see people take that off and then their vehicle could have gotten scheduled, and having that bliss system and a lane keeping system. Two safety features, in my opinion, that should be standard equipment on all Mavericks. I think it's a $600 package now, or I think it was 500 if you ordered it early on, and that is a great package. And so I think I would say hold off on that one, especially if you have an early order with that package. Then go ahead and hold off on that. Why can't you just go ahead and just wait on that? If you especially have an early one, I wouldn't take it off. And in fact, my recommendation right now is if you have a hybrid that is scheduled that you ordered in June, July, August, I wouldn't touch your order. I still think it's going to get scheduled. Maybe the bed cover, maybe the bed extender, that kind of thing. But when it comes to the luxury package and the Copilot 360, I would say leave it on there. You're going to get more likely to get scheduled than somebody from September, October, November for a hybrid order. On the EcoBoost orders, we really have hardly any EcoBoost orders that were scheduled prior to September. I say if you have an early EcoBoost order like September, October, well, anything before probably October, maybe even November, then and you have those on there, I'd say keep them on there. I think it will get scheduled for 22 if you have one of those early orders, but it might take a little bit longer into the summer before you get scheduled with it, but it's really up to you if you like that package that much. And then they mentioned, of course, the very last ones. And number 7 is the XLT luxury package without the Copilot 360. So if you have the luxury for the XLT and not the Copilot, to think about removing just a luxury package. Number 8 is a Copilot 360 without the Lariat luxury package. They mentioned trying to remove the Copilot 360. But what's fascinating to me is the last two are the Lariat luxury packages. So they're saying, if you have the Lariat luxury package, which requires a Copilot 360, is think about taking the Lariat luxury package off, but keep the Copilot, or take off the Lariat luxury and the Copilot. What I think is funny about that is that those two are last on the list, which means to me, I believe they're going to take priority of giving the luxury packages and Copilot 360 packages to the Lariat trim orders. So that's my thinking is they're probably going to prioritize your Lariats with those packages. They're going to probably get first dibs on those and then move their way down to the people with the luxury and the Copilot 360, because they mentioned the XLT luxury without the Copilot and the Copilot without the luxury, but not with both. So I think that's probably going to be the priority. So if you have a luxury package and a Copilot 360, I think you're better off probably getting getting scheduled than someone that has one or the other on their order. And by the way, right now you cannot add a Copilot 360 or a luxury package to your order. And once you take it off, it can't be added on. So keep that in mind too. If you take it off and then decide, no, I wanted it back, you can't put it back. So you need to make up your mind at this point. If you want to take that off, you're not going to get it back. So you need to be pretty confident of that. Now, something they did not mention as a constraint item that you should think about taking off is a protective fender and hood film. That's at 3%, and we've been contacting some of our customers to remove that. So I think that's something else that you might want to go ahead and think about doing, because that is something that's being constrained. So keep that in mind as well for that, and maybe want to remove that. And that is basically, we call it clear brawl. It's basically protected that goes on the hood as well as the fender to protect it from rock chips. That can be added by your dealer or aftermarket, a bunch of different companies out there after you get your order. So that might be something to think about. So last sentence I want to kind of mention down here at the bottom before a couple frequently asked questions, and that is that we understand that customers who place a retail order are frustrated with continuing to wait for news on the status of their order, which is why we are looking for our Ford dealers to support by advising their customers of their options. It is extremely important that our retail order customers understand their options and are given the choice of how they would like to proceed before any changes are made to their order. So hopefully your dealer does not make any changes to your order without your permission. That would be not cool. Okay, something else to mention that I didn't mention yet is that your dealer may, if you contact your dealer and say, I want to make these changes, and they say, I can't make any changes, yours is a priority too. And what that means is dealers can only prioritize theirs from 10 to 19 within their dealership. In the region, can pull that priority from 10 down to 2. The lower the better. If you have a 1, then that's pretty much a guarantee it's going to probably get scheduled. But if you have a 2, that means the region is looking at those orders. And like I said, all of our 2s are June, July, August orders. So a lot of dealers, if you try to go in, a lot of people don't know this, if you go into that order and try to take off the bed cover and save it, it'll tell you it can't do that. It cannot make those changes because it's still in that priority 2 spot there, and only the region can take it down to 2. So here's what you want to do. You want to make sure as a dealer, you have to change that priority to a 10, make your changes, submit it, and then you need to call and email your Ford rep and say, I had this priority 2 order. I made the changes like you recommended from your memo. Could you please take that back down to 2? Then they send it on up to the person that's in charge of scheduling, and they take it back to 2. Usually takes about a day. It should take effect, and then it should be back into a priority 2. So keep that in mind. And we do have a little while to make these changes because, of course, scheduling didn't happen today for the Maverick. And my thinking and what I think is going to happen is they probably won't schedule next week either. The first week for March scheduling will be the week after that. It'll probably be March 10th will probably be the next time they're going to schedule for March allocations. So you'll have really about 10 days to kind of make these changes to your orders. So I think you'll probably have even through next week. But just keep in mind, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, sometimes it's a struggle on getting changes made in the WebDo system. A lot of times it's hard to get those changes made because they're trying to preview orders. Even though they're not scheduling Mavericks, they still preview them and look at them. So that's something to keep in mind. A couple frequently asked questions real quick before we end the video. And I know this is getting kind of long, but I think these are some questions that you probably will have out there. One of them says in here, what is the latest customer delivery timing anticipated for remaining 22 model year Maverick retail order? So basically, how long are they going to produce the 22s before we're done? And it says 22 model year Maverick trucks will be delivered to customers as late as the fall of this year. Now, when they mention fall, they mean fall is September. So they go by the seasons, and we know that technically summer doesn't start until the middle of June. And we know fall doesn't technically start until the middle of September. So when they say into the fall, we are talking about deliveries into September, possibly October for 22 models, which means they're going to be producing through probably August of this year for those. I mean, usually when they produce them in August, you'll get them delivered in September. So my assumption is they're probably going to do production for that through 22 because production for 23s will start in the middle of October. So keep that in mind. And the other frequently asked question I wanted to cover was, when will retail ordering resume for the 23 model year Maverick? The retail order bank will reopen this summer for the 23 model year Maverick truck, with production scheduled to begin this fall. And again, using the seasons, when they say this summer, that's through August. So they are saying they've been telling dealerships the middle of August is when the order banks will open up for 23 production. And so some people are probably going to ask, maybe even comment in this video, how do I, what's the process in converting that from a 22 to 23? We have a while to think about that. I mean, we're talking August before we need to probably, maybe July or August, before we really need to be thinking about that. Ford's priority is to, let's get these 22s built as quick as we can. Let's get them done. Let's have some orders changed so we can get more of these produced so we don't have to carry over 23s. But typically what will happen is those people that have a 22 order will get first priority over people that have a 23 order. So what they're going to do is they're going to put all the 22 orders that did not get an opportunity to get produced. Those will get pushed into 23. They'll be copied as a 23 order and with their original order date. So that's going to be the priority there of those people. And then when the order banks open, then they'll go ahead and then take more orders. But again, those order dates will be below the other orders from 22. So 22s will get pushed and get priority for 23 if they are wanting to wait for those luxury packages and Copilot 360 packages. So there we go. So it's a lot of information for you, but I wanted to put this video out because I think there's some misinterpretation. Remember, if you have a first edition, something else I forgot to mention, if you have a first edition, do not change that. Do not change your first edition order. If your dealership contacts you, which a dealership already has, and said, hey, you have a Lariat luxury package, you need to take off that luxury package and that Copilot 360. No. To do that, you lose the first edition package. They will produce all first editions for 22. They will get done. As we did see earlier when I mentioned, the last thing they're going to be looking at is Lariat luxury packages of taking those off. They're going to order those first, which means your first editions as well. So if you have a first edition, hold off. You're probably more likely to know that you're going to get a 22 than anyone else because those first editions have to be produced in the 22 model year, which is the first year. They will not make those in 23, and they will not push that first edition order to 23 as well. So if you have a first edition, feel confident you're going to get scheduled. Just sit back and you just have to be patient and wait for it to get scheduled, but it will get produced for the 22 model year. So hope you enjoyed this video. Hope it helped you out. I will be on Facebook tonight. Link is down in the description for that. If you want to come over and ask me any questions, that's what the live Facebook Live is all about tonight, is answering any questions from you guys out there. So if you have questions for me regarding this, come on over tonight, ask me questions, or join me next Tuesday for my live stream. So the one tonight is going to be at 6 p.m. Central Time Zone. My live streams on Tuesday nights are at 7 p.m. Central Time there. So you can definitely catch either one of those and ask me questions, and I'm here to answer any of your questions, whether you have an order with us or not. So I'm here to help all the Maverick community and everybody out there get their vehicles ordered as quick as possible and scheduled and produced. So again, thanks for watching this video. Hope you liked it. Don't forget, smash that like button for me. If you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button down below. Don't forget to hit that notification bell. That way you can get notified the next time we have another video uploaded to the YouTube channel. Again, thanks for watching this video. We'll see you later.